T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well then, good morning everybody. How are we all doing? Well, I know exactly how you're doing. Everyone was a bit pissed off last night. I imagine everyone's going to be a little bit pissed off this morning, but I'm here to try and speak about the full story now. Last night was all about the reaction. The surprising reaction. Well, not surprising reaction. Surprise of what was going on with Liverpool and Cody Gakpo. We know full well that that is now official and confirmed, being officially confirmed by PSV directly. But what does it mean for Man United in the January transfer window? It was during the whole Cody Gakpo stream last night that Erik Ten Hag's embargo press conference came out. The second part that he recorded after the Burnley game. He didn't know about the Cody Gakpo situation. And I imagine tonight, before the game against Nottingham Forest, we will be getting some words and some comments from Ten Hag on the Gakpo situation. But in this embargo press conference, he made it abundantly clear. You can see what the quote is down there. Ten Hag said that Manchester United have to get a striker in January. Have to. Who could that be? Now, I'm going to do a video that's going to go out at lunchtime today that will run through these options that I'm going to discuss a little bit later in this video. But first, what I'm going to do is run through Ten Hag's comments. We'll speak about Cody Gakpo in a little bit more detail, but I'll be completely honest, we don't really need to. We spoke about Cody Gakpo yesterday. That's dead and buried. We don't need to speak about a Liverpool player now. Even if Manchester United did want to sign him. I'll run through Ten Hag's quotes. Then we'll run through a long old list of strikers. Maybe not a long old list, but a list of strikers that I think we are going to have a conversation about. A lot of these strikers, I'll be completely honest, I don't think that most of us want to have a conversation about them. But we have to, because we have to accept the reality. And Manchester United we're pretty much searching in the bargain bucket for something in January until we get new owners in. I'll run through all of these options. And then, of course, we play Nottingham Forest tonight. I'm going to run through my starting 11 that I released, was it 2 days ago now? We'll have a conversation about that in the comments, and you can let me know what you think about that team and what your predictions are for the game tonight. Who's down there in the comments? Let's have a quick look. There was somebody who joined as a member. Let me give you a shout out, sir. Okay, let me know where you're watching from, dude. But look, who's down there in the comments? Maddie, good morning to you. Nick, Jay Shaw, Dave Maguire, Joshua Dixon, Ian Holland, Paul Collinson, Andreas, Will, Nexus Black. There you go, look, watching, what, 4:30 in the morning there? Nice. Nikolai, I can see you there too. Alex, how you doing, buddy? By the way, I hope everyone had a great Christmas. I didn't really get to speak about that. Josh, I can see you down there. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. The Christmas tree is still up. The Christmas tree is not... Where is it over there? The Christmas tree is not on anymore. Cantona, he's going to stay closed now for the time being. He's slightly retired. Who's watching from Facebook? We've got Saidu. We've got John Mallender. We've got Carl McKnight and Mark. How you doing? Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Yesterday was, to be honest, it wasn't a stream I thought we were going to do, but when this news came out, and as I said, this is on the official PSV website. It's done. PSV have sold Gakpo to Liverpool. Not only have PSV sold Gakpo to Liverpool, look at this. Just in from Fabrizio Romano, they're already looking at signing the replacement for him. That's what happens when you plan properly, I suppose. I think PSV always knew that they were losing Gakpo in this January transfer window. But I don't particularly think anybody really expected it to be Liverpool. We spoke about it in great detail yesterday. As I said, we'll have a 1-minute chat about it this morning, and then we'll move on to the more important conversations about, okay, bro, what are United doing then? United had all the aces for Gakpo. We spoke to him last summer. Ten Hag spoke to him directly. We know he wanted to join Manchester United. He was happy to leave. He was disappointed when the move didn't happen. He stayed at PSV, had a corker of a season, went to the World Cup, nailed it at the World Cup. Man United had all the aces. We knew what the fee was. We knew that PSV wanted cash up front. We held all the aces. We didn't want to pay that cash. Liverpool swooped in. They gave PSV what they wanted, and PSV agreed straight away. No need to wait. No need to wait for a bidding war. No need to do anything. Done. Right. Gakpo, you're gone. PSV have sold him to Liverpool. Very efficient from Liverpool. Very annoying from Manchester United that, you know, this is a situation that, well, we feared was going to happen, and it gives us fear about what's coming up in this January transfer window now. Because as I said yesterday in the stream, if we can't afford to be giving somewhere in the region of 30 to 40 million euros up front for Gakpo, then what money do we have to spend in January? And the reality is probably not much. A super chat coming in there. Who's that from? Byron, what are you saying? A loan for Felix and an option would be better. A article from Simon Jones is Glazers don't want to buy because they are selling, which is more vital. And look, I've spoken about this in some length, at some length and detail here on United People's TV about our finances. About the fact that, yes, we are 200 million into our overdraft. There is another 100 million if we needed to pull out that extra revolving credit facility, they call it, aka an overdraft. I also have discussed the actual finances. We're nearly £1 billion in debt. We're losing around about £2.5 million per week as a business. Operations costs are going way down. Our cash has dropped to 24 million from 300 million plus in 2019. Then COVID happened and our cash got decimated. This is why we're in such a tough position. Because as a football club, as a fan base, we've got all the ambition in the world to go and win the titles that we want to win. But we have a set of owners that have financially pillaged us to the point now where we don't have anything. And we are stuck in limbo. I hope this will be the only transfer window that is affected by this conversation. But we are stuck in limbo because the Glazers want to sell. They don't have any more of Manchester United's money to spend. They've spent it all. And they're not going to dip into their own pocket. And that's why we've got to have a conversation about the loan market. And firstly, what I'm going to run through now is run through Ten Hag's comments directly about what he wants to happen in the January transfer window. But it's tough. Now look at the Dons down there. The Dons are all returning. Alex, you're gifting 5. Gungshi, you're gifting 5. And Dominic, all 3 of you. The 3 wise men gifting 5 memberships each. Brilliant to see you guys. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. I enjoyed the live call-in show that we did. I'm definitely going to be doing more stuff like that for the members of the channel. But let me go down here. I'm going to try and read as many of your comments out as I always do. So make sure you drop a like on the video. It does make a big difference. Matt, you're saying, what's the availability of Gonzalo Ramos? The reality is that Gonzalo Ramos is way outside of our budget. We can look at Gonzalo Ramos, but it's like going to a car garage and you, oh yeah, I'd love to buy that Ferrari, and you've really only got the budget for a Ford Focus. Don't know what that comment is. I didn't mean to click on that. Man, kudos. Nice to see you there, dude. Gavin, you're saying, Sam, I think we need to sell now. Not up to March. We need to now. I mean, look, Gavin, it's going to be... we haven't had any confirmation of any official interest past Jim Ratcliffe in buying Manchester United. I don't think Jim's got the finances individually to compete with the likes of Dubai or Saudi or Qatar or anybody else who comes in. That's just a reality. Nick, how you doing? He's saying lots of Dutch media outlets are saying that Glazers won't spend any serious money this window. Only loan deals and free players are an option. So I'm going to be running through this article in a little bit of detail after I run through the quotes. But yeah, that's what we're seeing from the British press as well. That's what we're seeing from Simon Jones in the Mail. And Manchester United are looking at the January transfer window and going to be looking at the loan market, right? And that's a fear that we've kind of all had going into this January transfer window. Is there money? Where will the money come from? I've explained where the money will come from, but also at the same time, how bad our finances are, that even if we could take out a 100 million overdraft, some of that might have to be used to actually just run our football club. I said this in a tweet yesterday, and I'll pull it up later. We're a club that has over £600 million revenue per year, and we're effectively being run on an overdraft. Like, that's staggering mismanagement. staggering stagnation over the COVID period and before the COVID period as well, from a commercial perspective. It's wild. It really is wild, man. Daryl, you're saying you remember? How you doing, Daryl? Nice to see you there. But look, let's run through Ten Hag's quotes here. Ten Hag has made it clear that he doesn't want any sort of compromise on replacing Ronaldo. He doesn't just want to get a body in for the sake of getting a body in. And that is an opinion that I absolutely agree with. We have to get the transfers right. It's not just about transfers for the sake of transfers. Now, some of you might say that Cody Gakpo was one of those players. Was a signing who, yes, you could see where you could fit, but technically he's not exactly what Manchester United needed. Now, that's kind of down to interpretation. I'll be completely honest. I saw Cody Gakpo. Look, I'm not going to now pretend that Cody Gakpo is going to be a crap signing for Liverpool. I think he would have been a good signing for United. I think he's at the age. He's got versatility in his game. And I think Ten Hag could have really molded him into being a very good player. And I just hope it doesn't work out at Liverpool, but he probably will. Let's be completely honest. Jonathan, I wish you were joking down there. So I'm going to be speaking about some mad names this morning on this show with you. I really am. Alex, you're saying, Sam, do you think this lack of compromise will mean no number 9 signed in January? I think that lack of compromise means it rules out probably a couple of the names that I could discuss here, because it would be effectively wasted money. But this is what Ten Hag said in terms of this conversation from Ten Hag in his embargoed press conference. It's kind of two ways. He's looking internally of what else he can get and improve from within Manchester United, and he's looking externally. What can we do to bring in and strengthen this squad? He said here, look, he said he was asked if Manchester United needed to sign a striker to achieve this season's objectives. He said, look, there are two things. First, goals can also come out of our own club. See Garnacho, see Elanga, see Pellistri, who made a good impression in the World Cup and in the game against Everton last week in training. That is first. So what Ten Hag is doing, and maybe that makes this photo all the more interesting. Of course, that's Benny McCarthy and Robin van Persie training directly with Facundo Pellistri and Alejandro Garnacho. I don't personally think we're going to be looking towards Anthony Elanga for any sort of influx of goals. That's just a personal opinion. I know that, was it that goal he scored away at Atletico Madrid? I think Elanga's got a place inside this squad, but he's not going to be somebody we look towards to really dig us out of a hole, which we're kind of in at the moment. Whereas Pellistri and Garnacho are both exciting youngsters. Absolutely, but they are exciting youngsters. Pellistri deserves opportunities. I think, well, from what we can see on the outside, from the outside looking in, Pellistri is somebody who deserves opportunities. Played well with Uruguay at the World Cup. Either he's doing something wrong in training or he's going to be getting chances in these next few weeks. But yeah, that's one thing that Ten Hag is looking at. Internally, how else can we get goals? Garnacho, Pellistri, hell, even Elanga. But this is the interesting and important quote here. He goes, we are aware that we lost a striker. So I think we have to get a striker in. But it has to be the right one. The right one will bring quality to the team and not just add to the squad, because that gives you only problems. You know the criteria is high at Manchester United. I think it's very clear that, well, I say very clear. It's not particularly very clear. Nothing is very clear here. Ten Hag doesn't want to compromise on this new striker. He won't bow down to pressure of fans or pressure from media or pressure from anybody that Man United, simply for the sake of it, have to get a striker in January. But he's also not a fool. Smart dude. He knows full well. Look, you're down there with a comment there. I said this. I've said it going into the window, and it wasn't exactly a difficult thing to say. Our whole season currently relies on Anthony Martial staying fit and Anthony Martial finding goals. That's what that's what currently it relies on, which is such a point of failure. Because as soon as Martial, and it will happen, right? Martial will get injured at some point, and we're going to have to play without him. Then who do you look for? You can't be looking. I know that some people are going to be mentioning Charlie McNeil and looking towards the youth team, and it's just not realistic. I don't personally think. Charlie McNeil is somebody, in my opinion, a bit like Amad Diallo. He needs a loan before we have a conversation about Charlie McNeil coming through and breaking into this first team. I think Kobbie Mainoo strikes me as somebody who's closer than Charlie McNeil towards that first team. Somebody joined as a member there. Let me give you a quick shout out. Don't want to miss you. Kevin, let me know where you're watching from, dude. Kevin! Big up Home Alone. Everyone watched Home Alone, right? It's the rules of Christmas. Everyone knows that. But Ten Hag, he wants a striker. And I think this point here, this conversation is also quite an interesting one, because this is what you said about Marcus Rashford. I said it from the start. I think he is capable of scoring 20 goals in the Premier League, and I'm convinced of that. He has 4. He also got 3 in the World Cup, so we know the potential to score those numbers in the Premier League. What is your opinion? What is your opinion on Rashford? Look, Rashford right now, he's red hot. Going into the game tonight, we're looking towards Rashford for our goals, aren't we? Of course, we'll be looking towards Martial, who hopefully is fit enough to start and play. But Rashford is the man on form. Wonderful goal against Burnley. 3 great goals for England at the World Cup. Rashford is our guy right now. But Ten Hag, he's challenging Rashford to score 20 Premier League goals this season. He's on 4 currently. So 16 goals in how many games have we got left? What is it? 15, 16? Let's have a look. Tables. More than that, actually. So Man United played 14 games. So we've got 24 games this season left. And Ten Hag is asking him to score 16 goals in 24 games, which isn't an outrageous. It's not an outrageous challenge. It's a difficult challenge. Reaching 20 in the Premier League there's not that many people who have done it. What do you think about Rashford? I'll read a few of your comments down here about Rashford, and then we can move on to the real conversation about other strikers we could and should be looking at in January. Dave, you're saying Ten Hag must have something up his sleeve. We wouldn't have let Gakpo go so easily. Dave, I think you're giving the club a little bit of credit there in the idea that we just let Gakpo go so easily. I don't think we did. I think we just sat there and we tried to negotiate and squeeze. We tried to give a little bit less up front. We wouldn't have got... Oh, Liverpool gone. Yeah, there's what you want. Boom, gone, done. Because it's a bargain. It is. For Gakpo in the current market. Whether or not he works out, for Gakpo, that is a very, very fair price. Between 40 and 50 million euros, given his age, given what he's done at PSV, given what he did at the World Cup. It's a very, very good price. So United didn't really particularly need to negotiate, but we do because we've got no money. We didn't have to negotiate because Gakpo was too expensive. We had to negotiate because we haven't got the money to pay what PSV wanted. And that's why Liverpool were able to jump in and just steal him away. Malps, you're saying so many games coming. We haven't got the squad to do it. The player's going to burn out. So look. Let's push to get Mbappe. Why is anybody mentioning Mbappe? People are drunk here in the comments. Erik's Ten Hag's hands are tied. Mark saying Rashford's class on his day. I mean, Rashford is class on his day. I wouldn't ever look at Rashford as a striker. I'll be complete. I just can't. I can't look at Rashford and go, he's a number 9. He's just Rashford at his absolute best is somebody who's just running at a defender, has like 5-10 yards between him and the defender, and just skips past them, and then puts his foot through it, and just fires a rocket that's pretty much unstoppable. Kicks it so hard, it looks like the net's going to break. That's Rashford at his peak. Rashford's not going to be that finesse finisher, that one. I don't know. He's just not. He's not delicate. That's probably the way I would describe Marcus Rashford. He's not delicate. He's just head down. Plays like me on FIFA. No finesse. Pace, power, finishing. That's Rashford. He's not like a He won't ever be a Ruud van Nistelrooy type player. He's not challenging Rashford scored 20 this season. He's just saying he's capable of doing it. No, I don't think you can say 16 goals in 24 games is ridiculous for a player who's only scored 4 in 14. I think he absolutely is challenging him. They're saying that he is capable of doing it. It might not be a direct, it's not a finger point and say, well, I'm challenging you to a duel. He's not. But he's saying, look, man, you're capable of that, Rashford. You're capable of that. I question whether he can score 20, but I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd absolutely love to be proven wrong. But I'll tell you what, Ten Hag finds himself in this situation now where it's January. It's always a hard market. We know it's always a hard market. Last two Januaries, I think we spent nothing. The January before, we signed Bruno Fernandes because we didn't get him in the summer. AC is saying you are only so hurt because you've been talking about Gakpo over the last 2 weeks as part of your job. Most people don't care. I'm sure there's an element of truth to the fact that I've been talking about Gakpo for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, sure. I'm not hurt by it. I'm not going to go and cry in a corner. But I look at it as a player that Ten Hag wanted in the summer, as a player that we wanted in January, a player that we were in negotiations for, a player who wanted to join the club. It's a big thing. Players who want to play for Manchester United, we have to make more of those signings. And I think Gakpo would have been a good one. We just didn't want to give Liverpool what they wanted. I'm not going to go and cry about it in a corner, but it's a conversation we need to have. Jay Shaw, you're saying we need a Henrik Larsson type signing as a last option. Well, how about we go and get this man again? Because you laugh, but this is pretty much what we're doing, right? Sorry, putting up too many comments here. Odi Nagalo, we laughed about it. What are United doing going and signing Nagalo? And that was very much a body for the sake of a body. Nagalo wanted to play for United. Remember that goal? I always feel sorry for him. That banger he scored away at, was it Lask Linz? And nobody was there because it was COVID. Poor lad. But this is the situation we find ourselves in. And that's why I'm going to be speaking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Geez, 11 strikers we can have a little mini conversation about. Some just to be dismissed, but some that we can have a conversation about. And on my video going out at lunchtime today, I wasn't going to do a video at lunch because we're playing Nottingham Forest this evening. But it's the 27th of December. That's one thing that pissed me off about all this as well. The transfer window's not even open, and Liverpool have got their fucking business done. Bastards. Bastards. But United are going to be looking at the loan, the concept of loans. Players who have contracts running out. Now, in terms of loans, I know there's one player who is going to be maybe top of the list. It might be a wrong way to describe it, but if we're talking about a player that Manchester United can sign on loan, is available on loan, who could come in, who could hypothetically make a big difference to this team, you could have a conversation about Joao Felix. You let me know what you think in the comments below, right? Because if there are that many of you that are getting annoyed about the idea of Cody Gakpo and why he was ever a United target, he's a left winger, Sam. Like, what's the point in looking at him? We don't need him. Then we look at Joao Felix. Joao Felix is somebody who is not a striker. Absolutely not. He could play as an ideal false 9. Absolutely. He can play centrally. He can play on the right. He can play on the left. He's got versatility to his game, but he is not a pure number 9 in any way, shape, or form. He's more of a false 9. So if you're looking for a presence in the box, you're not going to get that with Joao Felix. I think it's an interesting option, right? I'm not going to dismiss the idea of Joao Felix. Let me see what you're saying down here. Playmaker Felix, Josh, you're saying, I don't think Felix is the right guy. Goes against what we want. I wouldn't say goes against what we want at the club. But if so many of you are arguing that Cody Gakpo wasn't correct because he's not a striker, then Joao Felix, even more so, wouldn't be correct because he's not a striker. If we sign Felix on loan, how do we set up the system with Felix and Fernandes? Well, I suppose we look at what Portugal did at the World Cup. It seemed to work for them. I think they played more with one holding midfielder with those two in front. Joao Felix was playing really deep, kind of as a playmaker. Kind of a bit like in the Eriksen role. That's what I would look. I'd probably be looking at Joao Felix in there, but I don't know. You think Felix is overrated? I don't think Felix is overrated, Mark. I think he's a hell of a player. But you don't go and spend 115 million on a player that just isn't good. Joao Felix is good. And we saw that with Portugal at the World Cup. He is a cracking player. Nikolai Felix is good, but not a game changer type of player. We need Mitrovic or Tony. We're not going after Tony because of the betting situation. I don't really see why we're going after Mitrovic, and he would cost a lot of money. And we're not going to spend the money that would be required to sign Mitrovic, even if you wanted him. Felix is not a number 9. Neither was Gakpo. And Nick, you're talking about the obligation to buy, and I think that's the crunch point of that deal. If Atletico Madrid force an obligation to buy clause into any sort of loan deal for Joao Felix, it's done. We're not going to do that. We're not going to take him on loan for the season, which will probably be somewhere in the region of £5 to £10 million as a loan fee. And it's become standard place, really, in transfers post-COVID. Signing a player on loan first with a buy option at the end of it, or sometimes an obligation to buy, because clubs didn't have that much money. It allowed them to spread the cost of a transfer. That's just the way it goes. It's kind of fashionable these days. But Joao Felix is... I'll be amazed if there wasn't other clubs in for him. Chelsea just seem to love to sign everyone, so they'd probably be in for him. Arsenal, you could look at him and say, well, okay, I can see where he can fit in Arsenal too. Joao Felix is a conversation, but this is where we've got to talk about this, right? Man United are going to be looking at the loan market, and Man United are going to therefore be looking in the January transfer window probably at players whose contracts run out. And that's why I've compiled this list here. We know full well that this man's contract runs out in the summer. So Man United could, in theory, go and approach Memphis Depay and agree a deal for him and get him on a free in the summer. Or, and we know Barcelona would, because Barcelona are constantly trying to get players off their books and trying to balance their accounts, Memphis Depay. What do you think about Memphis, right? I can't help but look at Memphis and go, really? Am I looking at Memphis as a centre-forward solution for Manchester United? I don't know. Anybody, stop mentioning Mbappe in the comments. You crazy, crazy people. Why are you wasting my time reading Mbappe's name out? Memphis Depay, as I said, because unfortunately we're looking, as I said, we're looking in the, I said it on the stream yesterday, the Cody Gakpo stream. We're that kid who's forgotten his PE kit. We're looking in the bin in the back room, trying to go, oh, no, sod that. That's fucking disgusting. We're just trying to pick something out. And that's why we're having a conversation about these players. The majority of you, look, Nick, yeah, you're right there. But then going back to what Ten Hag said here, it has to be the right one. So Memphis Depay, I suppose for a lot of people, is going to be a body for the sake of a body rather than being the right one. For a loan fee, Memphis is not the best fit. Stephen, I'm not sure if you're joking there. I hope you're joking. I'm gonna believe that you're joking. Chris, you're mentioning Terran Moffey. We're having a conversation about him later on. Loan fee for Alex is 8. I mean, Marcus Thuram. We're gonna have a conversation about Marcus Thuram. We're just talking about Memphis Depay here. Lexi, you're talking about him down there. But look, I don't personally think that Memphis Depay should be a conversation that Manchester United should be having. But I'd certainly have him as a conversation over Choupo-Moting. And again, this is what I mean. Like, this is not... Jeez. The Glazers need to sell, man. They need to get out of the club so the ambition of the fans and the ambition of the football club can finally align with the ambitions of the owners. But look, as I said, it's a bit of a joke, but it was kind of a bit of a joke us signing Ighalo in the first place. And that's why the concept here of Choupo-Moting is, I don't think it should be an option, but it probably is an option. Some of you down there in the comments talking about Andy Carroll. But he's a man with experience. He's a man who's scored plenty of goals over his career. In my opinion, he's going to be in the same category as Memphis Depay. a body for the sake of it rather than what we need. Now, I'll be honest, pretty much majority of you in the comments agree with that down there. And then onto a conversation that we could have. This is a little bit of a different conversation. Now, and the striker that Alex has just mentioned there, Marcus Thuram. Now, his contract runs out too. And this is a different type of profile of player. Memphis Depay has played at Manchester United before and it didn't quite work out. And it's a little, you can get stung by that. Choupo-Moting is a 33, 34-year-old established, experienced striker who he's going to come in and, really he's going to have any future at the club? No, he's just a short-term stopgap plaster is effectively what he is. Marcus Thuram is different. 25, in that France goal for the World Cup, came on in the World Cup final. He is a different profile of player and may well be seen by some as an opportunity because his contract runs out in the summer and he's 25. He's got years ahead of him. He's a proper centre forward. He does have pace to his game. What's your opinion on Marcus Thuram? And again, it all depends on how you see Man United now approaching this January transfer window. Are we really just going to be looking for loans and loans only? Or do you think there's going to be conversations that we're going to have around possible signings like Marcus Thuram, who, let's be honest, is not going to be coming in as a Cristiano Ronaldo replacement? Chetan, you can't ever judge a player off one individual performance. Honestly, Liam, it really is. I'm not even hungover, but it's making me feel hungover. Speaking about these players that we're speaking about. Ankit, you're talking about Jonathan David. Yeah, I know. We've had lots of conversations about Jonathan David before. I actually forgot to see. Let me see when his contract runs out. I didn't think his contract ran out in the summer, but I might be wrong. Let's have a look. Runs out in 2025. Jonathan David, in my opinion, is going to be a player that's just overpriced for the January transfer window and how much money we are going to have. Paul, you're saying go after Tony. As I said, man, no one's going after Ivan Toney with a 20-foot barge pole until the whole betting situation is sorted. He could be slapped with like a 9-month global ban from football. Could happen. Played really good for Spurs, for Brentford against Spurs yesterday. He's a good player. He is a very good player. It strikes me as a profile that could really work for Erik ten Hag. But no one's going to be signing him until that betting situation is sorted. What else are you saying down here? Thuram, we get another striker in the summer. I'm a French supporter, and Marcus Thuram was a total letdown. We'd rather get Giroud. I don't know, it's a bit of a random one. Look, Marcus Thuram is something that is going to be on the list, and in much the same way that I think Moussa Dembele is going to be on that list. Moussa Dembele is in this same sort of category as, I suppose, Memphis Depay. Both of them, their contracts run out in the summer. Both of them have been linked heavily to Manchester United before. Both of them wouldn't really be the first choice but for any Manchester United fan. But both of them would be cheaper, cut price, centre-forward options who could and would give Erik ten Hag a body up front. And it's whether or not you just think that player's suited or not. In my opinion, I think that Dembele, I think that kind of conversation went a while ago with Dembele. That's just a personal opinion, though. I haven't been watching. Who did he play for? Lyon. I haven't been watching Lyon this season. I haven't been seeing how good he's been playing or how bad he's been playing. Stop linking players to United. Other teams just copy for our. Amy, this is just me doing a little bit of research because I know full well that we won't be signing. Look, I would love us, right, to be having a conversation about this man this morning, right? I'd love us to talk about how we can go after Gonzalo Ramos, how we can build the future of our attack around him. He's a Cristiano Ronaldo replacement for Portugal. He could be a Cristiano Ronaldo replacement for Manchester United too. Came in, scored a hat-trick on his full international World Cup debut for Portugal. He's obviously got talent. But I can't really have a serious conversation about him because we won't be able to afford him in January. Benfica are going to be selling him for probably in excess of 100 million euros. And they're not going to do it in January. Especially not because they're in the Champions League. Ethan, you're saying that Joao Felix on loan. But yeah, Gonzalo Ramos is a conversation I'd love to have. In the same way, I'd love to have a conversation about Victor Osimhen. But there's no point. There is no point having a conversation about this player. Because neither of these, in my opinion, there's another striker I'll add to this list. Sod it. Lautaro Martinez. Let me turn my phone on silent. Rookie mistake. Lautaro Martinez. Can't get my finger in. Giggity. Lautaro Martinez is another player who I know some of you would love to have a conversation about. But there's no point. There's no point having a conversation, I don't think, in January about Lautaro Martinez, about Victor Osimhen, about Gonzalo Ramos. And that's why we're talking about bargain bucket signings. Choupo-Moting. Memphis we could get on cheap because his deal runs out in the summer. Marcus Thuram. Again, same sort of category. And Moussa Dembele. And look, Ben Brereton Diaz from Blackburn. Again, this isn't going to be, I mean, high on many United fans' lists of strikers or centre forwards who can come in and make the difference for the club. But Ben Brereton Diaz, he's been a good striker in the Championship for a while, actually. Now, contract runs out. I spoke about him a while ago, actually. Again, this is going to be this is the dossier I think that's going to be like given to Erik ten Hag. Goes, look, right, we'd love to sign you Gonzalo Ramos, but we just can't afford him. No, it's a shame. It's a real shame. But look at all these strikers. Look at all these strikers that we could be signing. Look at all these attackers we could sign in January for you. They're nice and cheap. It's just the way it's going to be. And again, this isn't really a game-changing substitution. I go back to Erik ten Hag's comments. We have to sign the right one. He wants the right one. Is Ben Brereton Diaz the right one? No, I don't think it is. If I'm being honest and I'm looking at the loan market, right, and we can have conversations about Joao Felix, I think realistically, there's probably an opportunity to test the waters over Dusan Vlahovic, right? And if we're talking about different levels of player here, aren't we? We just had conversations about Choupo-Moting, about Moussa Dembele, about Ben Brereton Diaz. Dusan Vlahovic is on a different level. And the only reason I'm saying that is because of Juventus's financial situation. I mean, the whole board has left. The whole board's been sacked. They are a club absolutely in free fall. And there's an opportunity there, I think, for Manchester United to sign him on loan. That would probably be with an obligation to buy him. But if you're looking at a centre forward, you're looking at an actual. He is somebody who plays as that typical number 9, that physical, powerful, central presence. Now, the only reason I'm entertaining a conversation here about Vlahovic is because I think if Man United went in January with an offer to loan him for the rest of the season, paying his full wages with a loan fee, and maybe on top of that with an obligation or an option to buy, then Vlahovic is a name that should be added into that. Because it's a situation that United can take advantage of. You know, in the same way that Juve took advantage of everybody for years when they built a team out of free transfers. They got Pogba from us. I can't remember who else they got off the top of my head, but I remember it. They nailed that free transfer market, and they just kept swinging them out, kept bringing them out. Who was the other one? Matuidi. I think they got Matuidi for free. Perlo? Might have got Perlo too. But they did it for years. And now they are just not in a good financial situation. So United, if they wanted to, we could test the waters. But it's whether or not, I revert back to this, whether or not Ten Hag thinks that it's the right. I'm gonna highlight that one. It's whether or not Ten Hag would think that Dusan Vlahovic would be the right one. You can let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Did Di Maria go there for free as well? Alexandra, man, Juve crushed it for years. But now they're in a bit of a pickle. We can call it that. And if United wanted to, I think there's an opportunity there for Dusan Vlahovic. In the same way that there's an opportunity for Joao Felix because Atletico Madrid want to sell him because he wants to leave. There's an opportunity there for Dusan Vlahovic because Juve are fucked. And if United want to test the waters, there might be an opportunity to take advantage of that. Matuidi, Rabiot, Ramsey, Tevez. Oh, man. Yeah, I remember Juve doing it for years. So that's a name I think that we should be discussing. And as I said earlier, somebody mentioned it in the comments, Terran Moffi. I know he's a striker. I think it was Statman David did a video on him a while ago. He's a French striker, plays for Lorient. And could work. Could be a Victor Osimhen type signing. I know I'm simply saying that because he's Nigerian also. But I don't know what United are going to do, honestly. I really don't know what United are going to do in January. Mate, Gungshi, you're down there gifting another 5. Mate, it's a shame you couldn't get you onto the live stream, the members only live chat. Live chat? Call-in show. Gungshi, but we'll try and do it next time. Mysterious Rocket, I don't know whether you're being serious down here. Benzema? Is anybody having a conversation about Benzema? Nah, man, that reeks of Ed Woodward. That does. Absolutely reeks of Ed Woodward. I'm surprised the Glazers not set up a little page to buy. I don't know what that comment was about. But, Matt, I think it's just this. If Manchester United are going to be signing anybody in January, it's going to be a loan to buy option, a loan with a buy obligation option. It won't be a case of us going after anybody like Gonzalo Ramos, like Victor Osimhen, like Lautaro Martinez, any striker of that ilk. It's going to be way out of our price zone. If we didn't have, as I said, the 30 to 40 million cash up front to pay for Cody Gakpo in January, and we're not going to have the 60 to 70 to 80 to 90 million cash for Gonzalo Ramos. Well, the same goes for Victor Osimhen, or the same goes for Lautaro Martinez. Tashwell, go and wash your mouth out. Loan Frankie de Jong. Brian Brobby is another player that lots of you are mentioning in the comments. Jonathan David. Hell, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 10 or 11 different strikers that we mentioned this morning. But you know the ultimate problem here? Andy was a good comment there. The Serbian players always work for United. I don't know how many other Serbians have played for United apart from the Mania. We had... They don't always work out. Remember, Vanja Milinkovic, who, of course, is the brother of Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. He joined Man United as a goalkeeper and never actually... I'm not even sure if he actually ever came to Manchester. Anthony, you're talking about Andrea Bellotti in the comments. Peter Crouch. Andy Carroll. It's annoying, man. It's annoying when you see so much progress with what this man is doing at Manchester United. Where is he? You see so much progress and nothing's perfect. But you're just excited about what's coming next. And then all of a sudden, this January transfer window comes around after the Ronaldo situation. And all of us want to bury the Ronaldo situation, bring in somebody new, and let's just kickstart the second half of this season. And we can't really because the Glazers are trying to sell. The Glazers, who have ruined our club with the debt, have seemingly ran out of money to leverage debt on the club. Because they have to hold... I don't know. Maybe that money will be made available. It's not looking good, though. It really isn't looking good. Ten Hag's looking inwards towards players like Garnacho and Pellistri, who can hopefully start contributing some goals. He's challenging Marcus Rashford to... Come on, Rashford, let's get to 20. I think he's capable of getting to 20 goals in the Premier League. I hope that Rashford can take up some of the slack that's needed. But yeah, man, Gerald, it's a pretty much a fair description of what the Glazers have done, man. I've done, and I will continue to do as many detailed videos to try and really help everybody understand what's gone on financially with Manchester United and what situation we really are in. But I kind of summed it up last night here. I said, look, we had over 300 million pounds cash in the bank in 2019. We've now only got 24 million. We're losing 2.5 million a week in club operations. And we're a club with revenues in excess of £600 million a year effectively being run on an overdraft that we've got to pay the fees for. It's a joke. And that's why the protest tonight is so important. If you're going to the game tonight against Nottingham Forest, make sure you go to the Gorse Hill pub. At 7, March will start at 7 with the 1958. Going down St Matt Busby Way, get involved. This is the first protest that's been organised post the Glazers admitting that they are selling the club. And we just find ourselves in a situation in this January where Man United, and I think this is pretty much correct, Man United are, for the 3rd January in the row, we're just looking towards loan signings. So I can't, mate, you're going to it, man. I hope it's good. The Liverpool one was absolutely sensational to be part of. I don't imagine it'll be as many people here, given it's a festive season, but it's an important one. It really, really is an important one. And there's one thing I want to quickly talk about before we wrap up here today. So there's 2 things, actually. Number one, thank you very much for joining in today. I think it's been a really good conversation and interactive show. So make sure you please drop a like on the video and subscribe to United People's TV. I do try to make these as interactive as possible, and you as a community help make that happen. Let's quickly talk about the Nottingham Forest game here tonight. This was my predicted starting 11 for the game today. Tom Grant, you're going as well. Enjoy it, man. I hope it's good. This was my predicted 11 for the game tonight. I made a couple of changes in defence. I brought in De Gea and Shaw for Malacia and Dubravka. I think Casemiro is going to be keeping his spot at centre-back. Maguire was back in training, but I don't think Maguire is going to be fit to play here. I'm going for a midfield 3 of the same. McTominay, Eriksen and Bruno. And a front 3 of the same too. I don't think there'll be any changes. You could well see this, for example, right? Depending on his fitness, I'm thinking about it, to be fair, we probably will see that. Anthony on the right-hand side with Martial in the middle and Rashford on the left. I can actually see you talking about it in the comments there. Maybe that's more likely. But what's your prediction for the game tonight? I'll be honest, I think it's a really tough one to predict. Nottingham Forest have been absolute poop. They had a good win in the League Cup. At least they'll be playing without Dean Henderson. What else are you saying down here in the comments? Anthony will surely start. Fred, you're saying any news on the sale? Mate, it's all gone quiet on the Western Front, Fred. There isn't any updates in terms of other interested parties, and we won't really be privy to that information until something has to be released. I think after reading through all the documents, one of the next things we'll hear from is when Manchester United have actually been given the financial advice on the price of the sale. I think they have to announce that to the New York Stock Exchange, because there's certain rules and regulations that the Glazers are held to. Because we're a public limited company, they have to go public with certain information. Gerard watching all the way from LA. Mate, lovely to have you joining in, man. Alex, you're saying Malacia at right back. I mean, that could happen. I think Wan-Bissaka probably earned his own opportunity after how he played in that Burnley game. Charles, you're going for a 3-0. Connor, you're going for a 3-0, a 3-0, a 2-0, a 4-0. I mean, I hope so. 2-0, 3-1, 3-1. I mean, I'm not really... This might come back to bite me, but I don't care about Lingard. I'm not worried about Lingard. Sure, he can have a little beacon try. I'm not worried about Lingard. Again, that might come back to bite me. And I've no doubt this will get clipped up if he does score against us. 4-0, 1-0, 2-1, 3-1. Will, you're going for a 1-0. Alex, you're going for a 3-1. 1-0, 1. I'm going for probably... I suppose I said it for the Burnley game. It didn't really work out. I think it's going to be gritty. I don't think it's going to be a wonderful game. I back United to have enough to get past Forest, though. I mean, what are they doing in the league? Are they rock bottom? Rock bottom. Rock bottom. I'll say rock bottom without saying that. Let's bring up the table. Let's see how they're getting on. Right, so not rock bottom, but they are down there, and look at that. But look at their form in the last 5 games. 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. Southampton are absolute bottom of the table. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I really, really don't. I think it's going to be quite an unpredictable game. I would back United to have it. I can't remember what I did my prediction as. Did I go 2-1? I'm going to go for a 2-1. That's why I think so. But let's find out. Tonight, I will be covering everything. Okay? We've I'll be covering the protest that happens before the game. I'll be bringing my match reaction after the game at lunchtime today. I'm going to have my video out on transfers. And tomorrow, I'm going to cover everything. We're back with a bang. I was hoping to have a little couple more days off here in the festive period. But then, all of a sudden, PSV sold Gakpo to Liverpool. And it changes everything. So make sure you please do drop a like on it. If you're new here, there's so many of you. How many people are watching right now? Let's have a look. We've got over 2,000 of you watching. That's brilliant. Thank you for joining in. Make sure you subscribe. There's so many of you. There'll be like 70, 80% of you who aren't subscribed to United People's TV. Become part of the community. Join in tomorrow. Join in later on. I'll see you later on. We should be, look, I agree. Somebody's down there. We should be destroying Forest. We should absolutely be slapping Forest up. But I'm just a bit, I don't know. Even after the Burnley game, I thought Burnley was quite an impressive game overall. I'm just a bit, And maybe it's because of the Gakpo situation and because of how I'm feeling towards the transfer window. But, I hope it works out tonight. Because the Premier League, we waited a long time for the Premier League to be back. And winning in the League Cup is all good and well. But the league is where it matters. And if you can't beat 19th place Forest, you really can't particularly talk about deserving a place in the top 4 at the end of the season.